science answer all the big questions that are out there.
Welcome, Marcus, here in Amsterdam.
Thank you.
Everyone by nature desires to know, wrote Aristotle more than 2,000 years ago. But are there limits to what human beings can know? This is the question you explore in What We Cannot Know, your fascinating book on the limits of scientific knowledge. When and where did your quest start?
I suppose my quest started as soon as I became a conscious human being, because I think that reference to Aristotle and metaphysics is that humans by nature desire to know, and I think it's part of our kind of evolutionary makeup. We've survived as a species because we've wanted to understand our universe, our environment, where we live. But I suppose the journey of this book really began when I took over this new job. I'm called the Professor for the Public Understanding of Science at the University of Oxford, and it's such a grand title, and people kind of expect that I must know the whole of science, and here I am to explain it to you all. So I realized actually, of course, personally, there's no scientist who knows it all, but I wondered whether, might there come a point when science knows it all? And we're in an incredible time when science is making so many extraordinary discoveries. Every time you open a newspaper, there's another discovery of a new species, a new planet, gravitational waves. So I was interested to sort of come from the other direction and see, okay, well, as a scientist, can I understand whether there's anything that we cannot know? Are there limits to what we can know? And that's the journey of this book, to just understand, although science is extraordinary, are there things that we'll never be able to answer?
And you explore it by 7 edges. You brought 2 edges with you. Can you maybe show us
Yes.
a few examples?
Well, so I've called them these edges of knowledge, and I found that there were kind of 7 areas of science which I think might have things that we can't know. And I thought what would help the reader, and me actually, on my own personal journey, was to have something tangible, a physical object to take with me on my way to the edge. So I had some real things. So one of them, I think, is actually a real symbol which represents the unknowable, is casino dice. So, why are we interested in what happens when a dice falls? So I throw this on the table, it's come up a 1. But could I know in advance that that was going to fall on 1? And sort of we feel like, well, the physics, we know about gravity, how that falls. We know Newton gave us the laws of physics to understand. So surely there shouldn't be anything unknowable about a dice. But actually now we've understood there's something called chaos theory, which is the subject of the first edge, which shows us limitations to what we can know about the future. But another of my edges is about quantum physics and about, is the universe actually at its heart random and unknowable? So my other object is a pot of uranium. So don't worry, this is safe. This is emitting less radiation than a bunch of bananas.
You bought it on the internet, right?
Isn't it amazing what you can buy on the internet? I mean, you can buy my book, but you can also buy uranium. So the unknowability that is at the heart of this piece of uranium is that we don't know when it's going to radiate. So quantum physics says actually unknowability is at the heart of the way we must do science.
When you started writing the book, was that your intention to write a book for everyone?
Yes, this is a book. So I think people shouldn't feel like, oh, do I have to be a scientist to read this? Exactly. No, this is definitely a book for the non-scientist. We have great stories in science, and I wanted to share those with people who perhaps would like to know, but this is not something with technical language. I really try to find ways to tell stories that will resonate for people who don't know the science.
I can imagine that this book must be, for the real die-hard scientist, quite confusing. Or not?
No, I don't. I hope not, because I hope
not confusing in the way that they don't understand the theories or anything, no. But they want to know.
Yes,
right?
I think that's interesting because I think by nature a scientist has to go into doing science believing that we could know it all. But a lot of these scientists, as you say, were perhaps a little bit worried about my attempts to put limits on science. And I think that's because of the nature of being a scientist, we have to believe that we might know it all. And putting up boundaries is maybe not helpful in trying to make progress.
When I was 10 years old, all of a sudden I lay in my bed and I cried because all of a sudden I understand that I would never be able to understand everything that is beyond the stars that I see, and it really made me melancholic and quite desperate as well. How do you feel about that?
I think that's, I feel the same, that if there are things which are truly going to always be beyond our ability to know, that's a little terrifying. But I think you've really tapped into something important there, which is we all, as kids, look out into the night sky, and we all must at some point wonder, hey, does that go on forever? Yeah. Or if it doesn't, how does that work? Is there a wall? And so the universe has only been going for 13.8 billion years. That's quite long, but it means that there's a bubble of information beyond which we cannot know. And so maybe knowing that the universe is infinite is something that we as humans will never be able to answer.
Before you pass away, to which question do you really would love to get the answer?
One of the big questions in this book that I'd love to know the answer to, if you could give me a button to press, is the universe infinite? I would love to know, because infinity is a very important concept for me as a mathematician. I use it a lot in my own work. I would love to know whether the universe has infinity physically embedded in it. Does it go on forever? Or perhaps there's nothing genuinely infinite except in our heads, the idea of infinity. So I think I'd love to know, does it go on forever, or is it actually somehow wrapped up in some interesting way?
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you.